I'm here with Rebecca Conwell, my old friend, so glad to be here, who's the current president and CEO of The Beach at UNO. That's an exciting new venture.
That's fun.
Now, previously you worked at the City of New Orleans
Yes.
as Economic Development Director. You also worked with Tulane for 14 years, and you also ran NORD.
NORD Foundation.
NORD Foundation. So you have an amazing experience in New Orleans. So first is, what is The Beach?
What is the beach? It's my favorite question.
I know.
So the beach is three things. The beach is the University of New Orleans.
Mhm.
It's the UNO, the University of New Orleans Research and Technology Foundation. And it's the research park. So all those three things have kind of been re-energized over the last 3 years. Like the foundation was created for the benefit of the university, 20 years ago. Became more of a real estate project, so that we have the research park, which is 30 acres, 600,000 square feet, 46 tenants, conference facility. So it's real estate meets innovation meets academia.
And it's cool.
And we're getting ready to make it even cooler. Over the next probably 2.5, 3 years, we'll be investing about $25 million in the research park, the beach.
And tell me your vision. What's
The vision?
Yeah, tell me what you see.
This utopia kind of experience, like when you go to work, like what does it look like when you work? Do you walk the sidewalks of downtown, which is like in the center of downtown, which I've been a very big part of and a proponent of, or do you kind of want that park-like experience where you have a place to have drinks out on the lawn, or if you've got a really intense conference call, do you want to walk on the grass and hang out with eagles? When we literally have a pair of eagles that show up and fish that we can watch out the window of our office. We'll be investing and renovating in the conference facility. 30,000 square feet are going to be turned into the state-of-the-art, beautiful space that will include the New Energy Center of the United States, Nexus, which is focused on green hydrogen, which is part of H to the Future. We have so many cool things going on.
H to the Future, what's that? What's that?
So H to the Future was part of the Build Back Better grant that GNO Inc. led.
Okay.
And when it was funded, it needed a physical infrastructure space. And so I got this wonderful call from Michael Hecht on a Friday afternoon on July 4th weekend, I believe it was, and looking for a space. And he said, do you have 8,000 square feet? I want to have 15. He said, it's yours.
So if I'm an entrepreneur starting a business, is that where I want to be?
I would love to have you.
And is that who is out at the beach?
So, we kind of have some clusters that are pretty important. Like, let's think about water, for example. We have the Water Institute as a tenant, Wildlife and Fisheries, CPRA, focused on the coast, as a tenant. Then we have tech clusters. We have engineering companies that work together that are focused on marine engineering. General Dynamics IT is out there as a subcontractor to the Navy. We have the world's largest food testing company, Eurofins.
What?
It's located at the beach, has almost 60,000 square feet.
How many people are out there?
The latest, we haven't done a count since COVID. Pre-COVID, 1,600 employees.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's sort of a secret.
It has been very quiet secret. The beach is no longer a secret, I would say.
Yeah.
We're working on that.
So, part of this podcast and everything we're trying to do here is about what's next. Thinking about looking out 5 years, 10 years from now, what's going on, and how do we position New Orleans for the future. Now, before this, we were talking about wind.
Right.
What's next in wind?
Wind is one of those cocktail conversations that's super interesting. You have a group that's super informed, and you have another group that says, why it's never going to make it to New Orleans, and it's here, baby. We were kind of surprised by the intense level that it showed up at our doorstep. We had reorganized the office. We outsourced our real estate to corporate realty so that they could manage. We'd have their level of expertise. We outsourced our accounting. We offloaded everything that wasn't mission aligned, and we created an innovation division. And so the innovation division is designed to be that connector between our tenants and faculty and students at the University of New Orleans, and projects that align with the economic development priorities of the city and the region and state nation. And here comes wind. like, the timing couldn't have been more perfect.
Just blew right in.
It just blew in. You know, oh, you're such a brilliant, yeah. We were looking at, you know, that connectivity, and then the leases were announced. That BOEM, the Bureau of Ocean Management, announced that the leases would be available offshore. And then aligned with that, we talked about earlier, is the Inflation Reduction Act, dumping $1 trillion into the economy, 400.
But you said a trillion, okay, you said
$1 trillion of, yeah.
into the economy to focus on.
Quite a few things, infrastructure, renewable, and 400 billion of that focused on offshore wind. So what you had is, you had an opportunity for.
And is this going to be allocated, or is this allocated?
It's happening in so many different ways. Through grants, government grants, it'll be tax incentives for focused, you know, investing in offshore wind. They're still working it out, but it's filtering down. And when you combine that, academia, and the opportunity to make a profit, you know, it's a perfect scenario.
So wind is a business.
Let's talk about wind as a business.
This will offset energy. So what is,
Right.
if I'm an entrepreneur, or if I'm looking at this, where are
Right.
the opportunities? What's
Well, let's talk about the different categories of jobs. So you have developers. You have the installation side of offshore wind. You have the maintenance and operations side of offshore wind. And then you have the innovation side. The wind turbine that is going to be successful in the Gulf of Mexico is not the same wind turbine that's going to be successful in Rhode Island, where they have their pilot. So you have so many different categories and opportunities, from business to engineering to small businesses. All those small businesses that have been servicing oil and gas industries, they're expanding their client base now. They're not replacing anything, they're expanding it. So the state of Louisiana has had energy as the backbone of its economy historically for, a gazillion years, right? So now we're expanding what we do really, really well and going into this new type of energy that just gives us more opportunity. So from small businesses who said, you know what, this is where I want to focus, because how often do you have a chance to be at the starting line of a new industry? And we have that in New Orleans. We're so perfectly positioned to be excited about this.
So tell me more about that, because we've seen these big waves of innovation, whether it's the internet or blockchain or wherever it may be, and sometimes we read about it after it happens in San Francisco or New York or someplace else. Why can Louisiana be positioned for this?
Because it's what we already do really well. You know, when we started doing our asset maps for the university and trying to figure out, like, what do the new, like, the engineering companies focused on offshore wind. We had some of the top ones in the world showing up at the beach, because they were looking at New Orleans trying to find out what their assets were. Where's home base? Where are they going to invest? We found out very quickly that, number one, they're worried about workforce. Who are the new employees of the future? And then we found out about, you know, the supporting kind of, they don't just need engineers, they need, you know, more of the, what we would call blue collar type jobs. And so Louisiana has been focused on offshore infrastructure through the oil and gas industry for centuries, right? Or a very long time. We take that same skill set. For example, University of New Orleans has the Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, the Bollinger School of Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, that's been putting out engineers who have built boats and those offshore infrastructure. They are the ones, those students that graduated from UNO, are building the jackets, for example, that were built off of Rhode Island. So there's a when you look at the fixed infrastructure in the shallow water, you'll see a yellow structure at the bottom of the wind turbine. Those are called jackets. UNO alums designed that. Louisiana companies installed it. We're ready to do it.
So what would be, in your mind, 5 to 10 years from now, what would you like Louisiana to be known for? What would you see happening?
Right. Well, I think the University of New Orleans is perfectly positioned to be the offshore wind university in the United States.
The offshore wind
University of the United States. I'm going to say it now.
Yep.
For many reasons. You know, we've
OWU, not UNO.
Stop it, well, rebranding.
The offshore wind,
I mean, we
University
are.
of America.
For example, we created the Louisiana Wind Energy Hub. Did I say it right? Did I get it right? I said it right.
Yeah.
And when we created it, everybody said, well, what is it? And it is the concierge. It helps you figure out how to plug in to what's happening in this region through the University of New Orleans. We talked to industry and said, what do you need your workforce to look like? We had a roundtable discussion at GNOE, hosted it, and our faculty met with the leading offshore engineering companies, in the world, who said this is what our students and workforce need to look like. Immediately rearranged some curriculum and made classes available. So if you're an electrical engineer and you're interested in offshore wind, you can take 4 extra classes and you suddenly have a specialty that was custom designed after speaking to industry. Those are the kind of things that the university is really good at, and we're only going to continue to build on that.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I know you've been involved with the city, city of New Orleans and Tulane and Nord, and you've been a leader in all those areas. It feels like there's a great leadership group within the ecosystem. Do you feel this collaborative work? I mean, it feels like we've got our stuff together. I mean,
Right. Well, I'm going to, kudos to you, Tim Williamson, for starting Ideal Village. You've said this many times. We're 20 years into the ecosystem, right? Where are we going to be in the next 20 years? So that's waiting for these students at UNO. What's so exciting is that the innovation division led by Shafin Khan, we started Startup UNO. So there wasn't a business plan competition at the university prior to last year. In a very short period of time, we had students in all different disciplines, not just business, engineering students, and doing public health, and designing things through the hotel, restaurant, and tourism school. That ethos, right, has to start somewhere. It's already been introduced. Students responded brilliantly. The first year, we had three teams that made it to the finals. 5 people showed up for the first year interested. This year, 20 teams showed up interested. In just 12 months, they responded that quickly. So what happens is you're telling UNO students, this is what it looks like. Shafin's team walks them through all the stages, like what you've done in Ideal Village in the past, shows them customer discovery, how to pitch, walks them through everything. They have that first experience in front of some really skilled judges, and then they have an ecosystem waiting for them, right? So they have Ideal Village, they have Propeller, and we send them out, and we're like, here you go. You're ready to grow. If you want to grow your company, this city is waiting for you.
And soon it's going to come down, but there's $110 million from the SSBCI program. So the ecosystem is going to have funding.
Right.
So if you're a student at UNO,
well, let's talk about our students at UNO too. They're gritty. There's students at UNO are they have part-time jobs. Some of them don't have a ride to school. They really have to work a little harder than a lot of the other students. You can't, we've had companies say, oh, I'll give an internship. If it's not paid, our students really aren't interested.
Yep.
And so when you have that kind of grit, you have a success rate, a very high success rate. And what's exciting is what the beach is bringing to that. The innovation division from the beach, and what Shafin and Nina Balan, the team, are doing is, we got you, right? So if you're interested in starting a company, we've got you. We're going to show you how to do it, and then we're going to introduce you to the rest of the ecosystem in the city. By the way, that grows into wind. It starts to permeate all the different sectors.
And there's another, I'm just talking about the funding from the SSBGCI money. There's also what you mentioned, $400 billion. And then the Green Gas Reduction Act. That's another $32 billion. A
lot of money out there.
It's a lot of money. So UNO is uniquely positioned. What's missing? In your mind, and is there a missing piece to put it all together, or are we ready to go?
We have a new president. Super excited.
And who's that?
Dr. Kathy Johnson from the Purdue University system.
Terrific.
In Indiana. So she's, I think, 2 or 3 weeks in.
She needs a Mardi Gras, right?
She hasn't had a Mardi Gras yet, so we're excited about that.
Yeah.
but she has a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. She's very excited about the research park.
She supports what you're doing? Yeah.
100%. You know, we have some work to do on integrating the partnership, right? We kind of surprised everybody. You know, 3 years ago, some of the faculty didn't know what the research park was doing. And suddenly now we had to prove ourselves. We're like, no, we're doing this. Tim, we have an innovation fund that my board created when I came on board. I asked them to do it. I said, have faith in me. They put $100,000 in it every year. And we use that innovation fund to fill gaps in projects that we want to do that just need
for your crazy ideas.
Yeah, for the crazy ideas.
So let me ask you, Rebecca, this is sort of like a startup, right? I mean,
Feels so much like a startup.
Tell me about, this is your first.
Oh my gosh.
Tell me what's like been an entrepreneur for your own venture.
We've had a few pivots.
Yeah.
We've had a few, you know, and.
If you're not pivoting, you're not starting.
Right. And when we talk to the team, like, we have amazing camaraderie on our team. And like this morning, we start every Monday with a team meeting. And, you know, the theme that I like to integrate into our thinking is to leave wiggle room for magic.
Yep.
Because that's what we discovered really quickly, is that magic, you need to leave room for magic and the unexpected opportunities.
What advice would you give an entrepreneur? What have you, from what you've learned, an entrepreneur going on their journey, what would you?
Well, right, it's, you know, my experience is you've got the young students that are just bulletproof, right? Like, they haven't been kicked in the shins yet. Now, UNO students, I've said, are grittier. They don't know they can't do it.
Yeah.
They just need love and support and some confidence. That's different from someone older who's on their third or second try or fourth try, and they just keep, you know, going in it. The heart of an entrepreneur is super unique. We have at the beach 46, I believe we're at 46 tenants right now.
Wow.
So you wouldn't call them startups. They're advanced, but watching them grow. ID Scan, for example, Jim yourselves, at the beach. I think they started off with 300 or 400 square feet. I think they're at 3,000. You know, it's so exciting. The same thing with Eurofence. So exciting to watch the growth and to be able to support them.
So 10 years from now, what's the beach gonna look like?
Oh, wow. You know, rooftop bars.
Yeah?
I'll say it now. We'll have some restaurants, you know.
Overlooking that beautiful lake?
Overlooking the beautiful lake. We'll have named the eagle by then. You know, today we decided they were on a honeymoon. We had 2 pelicans that just sailed right past our window, white pelicans, just gorgeous. I'm gonna declare that in 10 years, it will be the hottest collision center, you know, in the city. You know what that looks like, because, you know, following Katrina, you had that magic.
Right.
You had that with Ideal Village and Captainville.
Serve vodka and beer.
And Lunchpad, right? You know, and that magic right now is kind of missing.
Yep.
I want that. That's my goal when I imagine where we're going to be.
So this is Sunday. This video is going out, and this week you're hosting an event at the Nieux. Tell me what you're thinking about. If someone were to come, what peak are they getting inside the beach?
Well, first
bring
of
your
all,
bathing suit, right? No.
It's a little cold, but you know, you can. We'll support that. Well, we're gonna have some virtual reality. You know, our VR project is a perfect example of how we collaborate with existing assets. So we have our tenant, top right corner, Dan Clifton, who, by the way, was inspired to do educational VR projects by the work that took place when I was with the city. I spent 2.5 of the 3 years really like honing in and bringing people together on the opportunities around virtual reality for many different things, through the research, innovation, teaching, and he has carved out a niche for teaching using VR as a tool. So one of our faculty members has created a chemistry 101 class, for example, right? And when VR, when we realized we were going to have this asset, we said, well, the very first thing I wanted to do with wind is to create a VR wind experience. So Dan Clifton delivered. We covered the cost from the beach to do this. It's an educational tool. You know, if pictures are worth 1,000 words, as I say, you know, VR is 1,000,000.
Yeah.
It's especially if it's a new experience for you, because you know, if you really want to connect a memory, you want to be shaken up a little bit. So if you're putting on a VR headset for the first time, in this experience, you're going to get on a boat, and then you're going to immediately start getting data on wind and renewable energy, and from an economic development perspective. Mark Romig is our voice,
Oh, wow.
so we really did well with that. And from the boat,
Great UNO grad.
Great UNO
Yeah.
contributor and promoter. And the boat takes you to the wind turbine, and you get up on a platform, and you can look at the blades and to see how large they are.
So that will be here next week?
We're going to bring it, yes.
Oh, wow.
We're going to bring it, yeah.
So we can actually go to,
You get
go
to-
visit a wind
You get to
turbine?
see, you're going to get on a platform, and we are inviting everyone out to come out and see that. Yes, absolutely. We're also, I think, we're going to have the electrolyzer experience. Maybe, we might have some more experiences too. Green hydrogen is also part of, you know, how we end with the H to the future.
Yeah.
One of the ideal situations is green hydrogen. So green hydrogen is hydrogen produced strictly from renewable energy. So that could be offshore wind, land wind, it could be, and it could be solar. But in our example, it would be offshore wind generating electricity where it separates the water into hydrogen. And then you have all this innovation where you've got to figure out how to harness this hydrogen. It's a very tricky material.
So why would this not work in Louisiana? We have wind, we have UNO, we have funding, we have students. Why would this not work?
There's no not to this scenario.
It's gonna work.
We're not going to do not. Think about this. We have $50 million grant from Build Back Better grant invested in green hydrogen, right? And then in the innovation side of green hydrogen, we have, you know, millions, billions of dollars that are incentivizing innovation around offshore wind, you know, and we're already got the expertise, and our students are hungry and ready to make it happen.
All right, here's an important question. People are watching this. I got two questions. What's one sentence you want them to remember about this? And who should they share this video with? If they could share it with anyone in the world, who would you want to see and learn about the beach at UNO and everything you're doing?
Well, first of all, if you want to be nested, come to the beach. We've got you.
If you want to be
So
what?
nested, if we're going to nest you, you're going to come out to the beach. We want you to be there. We want to connect you. Like I said, we are an academic concierge, so we want to hear what your priorities are, what are your needs, and we want to connect you to the faculty and students at the university. We want you to have a really enjoyable experience. But what I want people to take away is those who have students at home who are thinking about careers. I want them to think about wind, and I want them to think about going to the University of New Orleans.
So send this to people who are thinking about.
Look, our intern right now is a neighbor of mine, and I recruited him walking my dog. Because I knew he was going to be an engineer, but he hadn't decided which discipline, and I sold him on the street to go into wind. It's really a matter of getting the information to students and your children.
So send us, wind is big.
Wind is big, it's going to make a lot of
UNO is
money.
positioned, it's going to make a lot of money, and we're early in that cycle.
We have our toes on the starting line.
Dipping in the water.
We are.
Okay, final question, big question.
All right.
What is your favorite snowball and where?
Oh, Hanson's.
Okay. What's the snowball?
I'm so boring. I love cherry. Just a purist.
Cherry at Hanson's. Okay.
Yes, that's the reason to wait in line.
Nothing on top?
No, I'm a purist.
Anything final you want to say? Anything we missed?
You know, I want to thank you. I mean, you have done so much for our community in the spirit of, you know, trust your crazy ideas. 2003? Because when were we talking about?
2000.
2000. You know, I became aware of it, I think, 2003 when we first started getting to know each other and talking about your idea to inspire ideas. You know, it's just, you never gave up, and you gave it all your heart. And, you know, there's so much now as a result of that. And the University of New Orleans is now a part of that. And we're just going to continue to grow. And, you know, I cannot be more optimistic for our city. With all the things that we have to talk about, we should be super jazzed and excited about what our students have in front of them and the opportunity. They don't need to leave. They can go to school here, and we're going to take care of them, and especially if they're interested in building something new from an
So
idea.
stay in New Orleans.
I love that.
Love
Yeah,
it.
let's do that.
How do people reach you? What's all your website, socials, and all that stuff?
The beach at UNO.org.
Beach at UNO. And you're on Twitter, Facebook, and all that stuff?
We are really active on Instagram, Facebook. I don't know how much active we are with Twitter. Yeah, a little bit. LinkedIn.
Ooh, good.
I've got help from the audience.
Rebecca, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
what I love about our conversations, you're one of the few people who know what dog agility is. So my daughter does dog agility, so
Yes,
you're the one.
and she is a rock star.
Well, you're the one person who knows what it is.
Yes, I
so
am applauding her all the time. What she's doing is brilliant.
It's the wind of dogs, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim. This is a pleasure.
All right.